And this loss for the Texans is devastating. It is catastrophic because what it does, I think, is highlight right now a real question for the Texans, and that's their quarterback. CJ Stroud right now is starting to have a lot of Kirk Cousins in him, meaning this. He's great when you play the bad teams. He's great when you play the average teams. But when it comes to playing the good teams, when you need your quarterback to step up in a big game, CJ Stroud, just like Kirk, fails to show up, and we saw that again here on Sunday. Now, when the Texans needed their quarterback the most, he disappeared. He couldn't get the job done, and now it's becoming a trend. Go back to last year. This was now the 10th game CJ Stroud has played against either a playoff team or a team that will be in the playoffs. He's now 4-6 in those games in his career. But you want to dig even deeper than that. Let's look at how he's played. Let's look at just this year in 2024. I think he's played now. This is the 4th game he's played against a team that will be in the playoffs. He's played the Vikings already, played the Bills already, played the Packers already. Now include tonight's game against the Lions. He's 1-3 against playoff teams so far here in 2024. And he now has registered 3 total touchdowns and 6 interceptions. They've averaged, at least in those 3 games against the Bills, Packers, Vikings, just 17 points per game. Today, the Texans only put up 23-0 after halftime. And that's the concern. Because you look at CJ Stroud in the first half versus the second half here. He's 2 different quarterbacks. First half in this game, he was outstanding. Everything was rolling. He was 14-20 for 164 passing yards, did have 1 passing touchdown. He had a 113 passer rating as the Texans took a 23-7 halftime lead over the Lions. Jared Goff, up to that point, threw 3 interceptions. So 3 picks from Goff. You're up by 16 at the half. You get the ball, by the way, to start the second half. You have momentum. You have the game on your side. That should be curtains. For any true, Super Bowl caliber quarterback, that is game over. And so you look at how that second half goes. He comes out immediately, first play interception. The one thing you can't do if you're the Texans here, you have all the momentum. You score a touchdown right before half. The only thing you can't do is give a spark to this Lions team. And what does Stroud do first play of the game? Or first play, in the second half? Boom, interception. Immediate pick. He gave life to the Lions. And even though Jared Goff responded with a pick of his own and then threw another later the second half to finish with 5, you had Stroud throw 2 picks and get this offense going nowhere in the second half. When this team needed him, he couldn't come through. Despite that great first half we just told you about. In a second half where, again, the game was close, right? It was a 2-score game the entire way. The Lions were clawing their way back, and you could have gone on a drive to wipe any sort of momentum away and put this game to bed. You had CJ Stroud in the second half here go 5-13 for just 68 yards. He threw 2 interceptions, was sacked 4 times, and that 113 passer rating we told you about in the first half, well, he finished the game with a passer rating of just 64. Disaster. And again, you look at that second half, when you needed your quarterback, Stroud could not come through. You now look at how, you add that now to the list of what he's done this year against playoff caliber teams for them. He's struggled in all 4. And now you look at so far in his career against playoff caliber teams, he's not played well. He has struggled, for the most part, to play well against the best teams on the schedule. That's concerning. That is really concerning. That's Kirk Cousins-esque right now so far. And for CJ Stroud, you have to prove a point. Because until you start playing well against the best teams on your schedule, I don't want to hear anything when it comes to Texans and Super Bowl. They showed you tonight the Texans are not a Super Bowl caliber team. We're going to get into tiers here in a little bit when it comes to what teams are in the Super Bowl contender category, what teams are in other categories, what tier the Texans fall on. They're not in the Super Bowl contender category. I don't think they're even in the next tier. They have a long way to go here. They have a lot to prove, and it starts with their quarterback playing well in the biggest games of the season. That was unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. The other quarterback gives you 5 interceptions, and you can't turn that into a victory. That for me, the loss of the Texans, first and foremost, falls squarely on the shoulders of Stroud. You can't have that happen. Look, I know the run game wasn't great. It was really, for the most part, non-existent. I get it. But you're the franchise, man. All you needed was one drive in this game. One drive to put the Lions away. Take momentum away. And you couldn't do it. That's what a true franchise, that's what a true Super Bowl caliber quarterback does. And Stroud fell short, just like he's fallen short right now against every playoff caliber team he's faced in 2024 and even throughout his career so far. Like the one win they had against the Bills, kind of the same story. Great first half, collapse in the second half. Bills come back, tie the game. Awful game management and clock management by Sean McDermott, backed up by his goal line, gives the Texans a gift where they get the ball, run one play, and kick a game-winning field goal. Stroud didn't do anything at that point. He held out for dear life and was the benefactor of awful game management by McDermott and the Bills. So even in the one win the Texans have so far this season against a playoff caliber team, it comes to the point where they won it more because the other team lost the game, not because they went out and won. So right now, if you're the Texans, they are not a Super Bowl contender. Please, do not come talk to me and put the words Texans and Super Bowl in the same sentence. They just showed you tonight they are nowhere close to a Super Bowl contending team because it starts with their quarterback not playing well in the biggest games of the season.